stay tuned because for the next 60 minutes, Motorsports Unlimited is on the air. Hi, I'm Jerry Bryant, and these are the lovely ladies of motorsports.
Hi, I'm Katie Borwitz, and this is the 1034th edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Today we're going to work on getting you excited about the upcoming summer outdoor car show season. We know it's difficult to think about it when there are still patches of snow on the ground, but before you know it, the Bridgeview Sports Dome Car Show will be here. As you know, the Dome Show is the tweener. It's not winter, it's not summer. It's in between. Bridgeview has the unique opportunity of holding a very early car show because of their sports dome. The weather is always perfect inside the dome. As you see this, May 5th, 2007 will only be a few weeks away, and if you're going to make it to the dome, get your car ready now. To help get you in the mood, let's turn the calendar back 14 years to August of 1993 as Ron Grant introduces one of the very special John Valley-inspired Oakbrook Terrace car shows.
Motorsports Unlimited. Wait a minute. Stop the music. Everybody knows it's time for the annual Oakbrook Terrace Elvis Car Show, so let's get in the mood. Now that's more like it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And as I was saying, it's time for the annual tribute to Elvis Oakbrook Terrace Car Show. And if you're not in the mood yet, you will be soon, baby.
If I have a favorite kind of body style for a hot rod, it's a 32 Vicky. Do you know what that is?
No, this car here?
Yes. Now, I'll tell you what the difference is. And this is real hard to explain. There were coupes, there were 3-window coupes, there were 5-window coupes, and there were also sedans. Somewhere in between, they had what they called a Vicky. It wasn't quite as long as the sedan and not as short as the coupe. It doesn't make a lot of sense unless you're familiar with all these body styles, but this is an outstanding example of a 32 Ford Vicky. Before we get to the car, though, let's find out about the guy that owns it, and you are.
Hi, Ron Barkley.
And where are you from, Ron?
Elgin, Illinois.
Tell us about your car. It's terrific.
Oh, thank you. But it's got a 350 Chevy in it, and
not just a 350 Chevy. I already looked under there. It's got Broadix aluminum heads. This is a pretty stout motor.
Yeah, it's souped up a little bit, yeah. But it's built to drive, really. I get 20 miles to the gallon with it, and it just cruises down the road nice.
Okay, tell us about the whole thing, the drive line, the chassis, and the rest of it.
It's all Downs body. It's a fiberglass body completely, and a Downs frame underneath it. And it's got polished stainless suspension, and all the suspension and exhaust systems all stainless and polished.
Now, I always ask the people we interview, did you do any of the work on the car yourself?
Very little, actually. I mean, I've worked on it for last year, but I originally didn't build it all.
Okay, and I want the audience to understand this, that you don't have to be a gearhead to be involved in motorsports. There are lots of people that love cars that are not particularly technical or mechanical that still enjoy our sport. Agreed?
Yeah, that's true. I can do it all, but I didn't on this car. I've built other cars before. And I bought this one just to get into it and start driving.
I couldn't help but notice the interior is absolutely outstanding. Tell us about that.
Yes, a fellow in Iowa City, Upholsteries Unlimited, did the upholstery for me. And I think he's one of the best.
It appears to have a lot of digital instrumentation.
Yes, it's all high-tech digital dash, and it's got a CD player in it, and cruise, and air, and power windows, and doors, and...
What do you think, Allison, as part of the Porsche set? Does that appeal?
Yeah, it sounds great. But you know what I was thinking when you said you don't have to know how to work on them, you can buy them to enjoy them. I have no idea how a car is built or how it works, and yet I love fancy-looking cars. So you don't even have to know about cars.
No, you
to
really
enjoy
really
them.
don't. And the point is, there is something that is available today that was never available when I was a youngster. There are hot rod shops that build hot rods from scratch for you, so you don't have to know how to do it yourself.
No, but in that case, you have to have a little bit of cash.
Well, exactly. You either have to know how or you have to have the money, right?
That's true, yeah.
Yes, Crystal.
And at the same time, you get the classic look with the convenience of an updated CD player and fuel economy. And
Well, not just that. The other thing I want to mention, and Chuck, if you would, maybe you're already on the shot of the car. This is a fiberglass replica, and the point I always like to make is that you don't have to chop up these classic cars, and there are only a few left in the world to make these great hot rods. This didn't damage a single old car, and yet it sure looks like a 32 Vicky.
Yes, it looks identical to one, but it's not, and I do have other antiques, and I wouldn't destroy them. So.
Well, you feel that way about
That's
it then?
right. That's the way I feel about them, so I see nothing wrong with this type car.
You're exactly right, yes.
you're getting the best of the old and the best of the new.
Okay, I want to take one more second and talk to you about this classic Vicky look. And Chuck, if you can, I want you to take a look at the rear of the car, if you can see that. The 32 Vicky wasn't exactly a sedan, and it sure wasn't a coupe. Can you explain to our audience?
Well, it's just in between. It's not a sedan or a coupe. It's right in between, and it is a Victoria, which they have Crown Victorias today. So it's the same type car, but this was in 32. And it's the only difference in this to a real one is it is chopped 3.5 inches. Other than that, the body style is exactly the same as an original.
I'm going to tell you something. It's an absolutely great piece. I want to thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. Yes?
I would hate to be a judge here today.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Thanks for this time. I want to make sure we keep them in on the act down there. I'm sorry, girls, that we kept you out of it this entire time, but if you would, please tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
She was waving me goodbye with her real teardrops and a twinkle in her eye. Marie is only 6 years old. Information, please. Try to put me through to her in Memphis, Tennessee.
That was Tony Caruso and the Locomotions, a fine Elvis tribute group, opening our coverage of the annual Oakbrook Terrace Elvis Car Show. There's much to see, so let's move on to a fine example of a newer hot rod.
When we come to these car shows, it never amazes me how nice these people are. They'll sit and talk to you about their cars, how they did them. A lot of them even have like displays like this one where they actually show from beginning to end the sequences they took to get the cars into this beautiful finished product, which is probably not finished. Knowing men, they're always constantly doing something. First of all, could you tell us your name and where you're from?
Yeah, I'm Ken Becker. I'm from Tinley Park, Illinois.
Tell me all about this gorgeous car. I was looking at the front up there. You really came a long way with it.
Yeah, well, we did a frame-off restoration, my son and myself and a couple friends. Took us 9 months.
Okay, what kind of car is this?
It's a 1965 Chevelle.
And when you started, was it in this good a condition or pretty well bad and you started from scratch?
It was really in pretty good condition. I looked for 2.5 years all over the nation before I found this in Hillside in Illinois, as a matter of fact. But it was in good shape, and we took it off the frame, and everything was apart. Every bolt has been replaced and buffed out by hand with stainless steel, and probably some unique features is there's 21 gallons worth of paint material on here. It's all Sherwin-Williams products. My son painted it.
So pretty well it's a family effort. You've been doing this all yourself?
Yeah, no, it's a family effort. My son owns a Nova over there, and we worked on his when he was 16, then decided to do one for myself.
It's kind of nice, and that way you can travel together and do the shows together.
Well, yeah, it's more than that. He wound up getting a job out of it in this type of business.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's really been well for him.
Okay, can you tell me about the engine in here? What kind of engine and rear end do you have in there?
Sure. It's unlike a lot of people getting big block engines, I stay with the original small block. And
that is rare.
Yeah, it is, because it's a show car. It doesn't need the power. I have a cam in there, 327, 350 horse with a 4-barrel. Transmission, a 4-speed Muncie, 12-bolt rear axle, with 342 rear ratio. That's the drivetrain.
Okay, what about rear end?
Well, the rear end is a 342.
The 342?
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Do you do a lot of shows like this, or is this kind of just a rare thing for you?
Well, this is the second year, and no, I've done quite a few shows with this.
Okay, and do you trailer this in?
I trailered it today because I didn't feel like taking it off the trailer to drive it here, but I do drive it once in a while.
Oh, that's got to be neat.
Yeah.
Bill, want to come on in and get anything else? I think I covered everything, honey.
I am very impressed. You did cover everything. Did she leave anything out in the car?
Not well. I'll tell you what.
Now's your time.
You almost have to see the engine to take something unique at it.
We are going to do that. We're going to take a shot of that, and we'll put it over this interview. I thank you so much. And the one thing you did was you left Crystal out.
Oh, I guess I did that. You can close that. That way you get to go talk to the girls. But, Bill, I don't think I need you anymore.
Folks, what you've been saying for a long time, she's saying it now. Let me get down here because we left poor Crystal down here all by herself, and I know she can do this. Please tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
Local summer car shows feature a wide variety of display cars. Let's join Crystal as she learns about a production car called a Willys Jeepster.
All of you out there in TV land better take a real good look at this car because you may not see one of these again for a very, very long time. Before we tell you what this is, let's meet the gentleman that owns this car. And your name is, sir?
George Pavlich.
And where are you from?
Romeoville.
Okay, this car is something we call a Jeepster. As more than that, I'm going to let you explain.
Well, it's there's only 3 years they were made, 48, 49, and 50. And in 1950, they changed the fenders, the hood, the grill, and they call it a Millstone Classic. And there was only 1,779 of them made. There you'll hear of a 1951, but that's really a 1950. Just title is a 51. And
now, what year is this car?
This is a 1950.
Okay, now they said that it was manufactured. Can you explain the difference between a car being manufactured rather than coming off an assembly line?
Well, it would be like an assembly line in Toledo, Ohio, but this, I guess, what they call coming off a production line is why it's called the last production American touring car made.
And do you know of any others other than this one around?
I know of on our club, out of 785 club members, there are all kinds of 48 and 49s, but we only have 32 1950 Jeepsters.
Well, that's unbelievable. Bill, could you come in and talk to this gentleman some more?
Yes, I want the audience to know, thank you, Crystal, nicely done. I want the audience to know that there are more automobile manufacturers in this country than Ford and Chrysler and General Motors. We used to have a manufacturer called a Willys, is that correct?
Right, Willys Overland.
Willys Overland, and they made a variety of cars over the years, and this is a Jeepster, and I haven't seen a Jeepster in many, many years. As a matter of fact, this is a fine example of the Jeepster, and I can see by the pictures that are displayed with it that apparently this was restored. Did you do any of the work?
I did all the work except the interior and the chrome plating.
Well, I'll tell you what, you did a great job. It's nice to see one of these. These were fun cars to drive.
They're real fun to drive.
Okay, thanks for spending time with us. I want to make sure we keep her in on the act. I appreciate the time. Let me get over here. Allison, Jeepster. No, I never forget about you. Jeepster, you probably never heard of one, right?
No, I was going to ask you, is Willys, wasn't that the first car, Willys or something?
It's not the first car. It was one of the automobile manufacturers that actually went under eventually. But,
okay.
But this was this was one of the cars that they made, and it was called a Jeepster.
It is really cute.
Tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
I'd never even heard of a Willys, let alone a Jeepster. What an interesting car. Speaking of interesting, our old friend Illuster showed up at the Oakbrook Terrace Elvis Tribute Car Show with a car she hasn't shown before. Let's have a look.
Is it amazing the variety of cars you see at these local summer car shows?
Oh, it's just really tremendous. This is a beautiful car.
Yes, and this is Illustra. She's an old pro on our show, and she's had the same car at these car shows for years, and all of a sudden I see her here today, and she's got a new car, so we're going to go down and find out about this. This is another one. This one takes a little bit of an eye to see that this is a new car because Illustra is apparently hooked on black and her other car is black and has very much the same look. So she apparently likes the elegant, classic lines of this kind of vehicle. First of all, please reintroduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, I'm Illustra, Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Illustra, this is a different car than you always have at the car shows. Tell us about it.
This is a 1981 Excalibur Mercedes body. Three-way black. There was only 6 three-way black made. It has 2 tops, so it's a convertible also. 305 Chevy engine.
That's right. These were manufactured actually in Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they were, and I believe Excalibur is back in business again.
I sure hope so because they did a beautiful job, and these cars were actually patterned after the original Mercedes SSK Roadsters, if I remember it correctly.
Right, I believe so, Bill.
Okay, you apparently have a real affection for this look because your other car, the Palmieri, has very much a similar look.
I fell in love with the black. If it's black, it makes my knees shake, and if it's got a lot of chrome hanging on it, it's really in with me.
Well, I've got news for you. When it comes to Illustra and the colors that she chooses, she says black is not a color, it's an attitude. Is that correct?
That's right. Black is beautiful.
Okay, if you would, I'd like to have you close this piece. Thank you so much for sharing a little time with us. And do you know what to do, or do I have to cue you? Okay.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
The variety of cars on display was exceptional, and we think this car makes the point perfectly.
This is probably the most unusual car we've seen today at this car show. We're going to meet the gentleman who owns this car and find out a little bit more about it. And your name, sir?
Jim Rostas,
And where are you from?
Woodridge, Illinois.
And what kind of car is this?
It's a 1981 Freeway.
Is it an electric car?
1-cylinder gas, 100 miles to the gallon.
Wow, that's terrific mileage. Bill?
Wait, now
Well, nicely done. She's getting to be an expert here. Yes, what?
100 miles to the gallon? That amazes me that something like this wouldn't have gone skyrocket.
No. You have to understand. Yeah, well, probably motorcycle engine, could even be a Briggs & Stratton and everything. You can get, moving a vehicle down the road is really a function of physics as far as how much mass you have to move, how big of a hole you have to punch through the air, how much weight it is. For example, how heavy is this vehicle?
I really don't know, but I can pick up the front end of the car by myself.
Right, these are very, very light with a very small frontal area, and they don't have a lot of power or speed.
No, it's a 12 horsepower Tecumseh. And I've had it going 65 miles an hour, but it's real good at 35.
Right, 12 horsepower Tecumseh, those are used in garden tractors.
Lawnmower tractor motor.
Oh, I just know, but that 100 miles a gallon with the way economy was with gas prices going up, I'm surprised a lot of motorcycle people per se didn't go for something like this.
This was one of the attempts at trying to do something different with the fuel crisis and all that where you sacrifice everything, because you sure don't have air conditioning and CD.
No. I do have an AM/FM cassette in there, though.
Yes, you do have a little baby air conditioner.
Chuck, what she's pointing at is a fan. I don't know if you can see that in the shot or not. He's nodding his head. He can. Wait a minute. Crystal's got a question. Hold on, Crystal. Yes.
I saw that this really has, Illinois license plates on it. Does he drive it regularly? And how many of these are there out there? Like, you don't see them every day on the Kennedy.
I got to keep you closer to me. Those are all good questions. She sees that you have license plates on there. She wants to know if you use it frequently and how many of them are there.
No, I don't drive it frequently. I drive it to shows, basically, and there was only about 600 of them produced between 1978 and 1983.
And now we got Allison with a question.
Would this pass like Illinois emissions testing and stuff?
It's exempt.
It's exempt because it's a motorcycle, three-wheel?
No, because it's got a lawnmower tractor motor and they can't put an emission system on it.
Okay, now I understand you can actually drive this out of here.
Yep.
Okay, let's do the honors. Go right ahead. What do you think, Peggy? Is this going to be a replacement for your car?
No, there's no room for car seats.
Oh, that's right. You got 3 kids. It'd be pretty hard to do 3 kids.
Yes, very hard.
It's not much smaller than my Porsche.
What a cute car, and over 100 miles per gallon. Wow. Now let's move on to an antique car that Bill fell in love with.
One of the things that I am continually uncomfortable about, we have been doing Motorsports Unlimited now for some 8 years, and this may be it's more than 390 programs. and we don't do nearly enough with antique cars, and it bothers me greatly because this is our heritage. This is from whence everything you see on our program, this is from whence it came. This happens to be a fine example of a peerless, and before we get into the car, let me find out who the owner is and where you're from.
Bob Weimer, West Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, tell us about the peerless.
Well, this car here is a 1928 peerless boat tail speedster. There was 72 of them made between 27 and 28. It's known to be one of 6 left. It was restored in 1978, gone through completely. It's the original drivetrain. Everything was saved on the car because you couldn't buy parts for the car. So it's basically a 100% original car.
Okay, what kind of engine did a peerless have?
A 6-cylinder, straight 6-cylinder. They were made by Continental.
One of the flathead 6s of Continental.
Straight
yes, as a matter of fact, folks, you should know that back in the early days of car manufacturing, there were car companies that made the framework, car companies that did the coach work, and car companies that did the engine work, and essentially they were assembled automobiles at that time.
Correct. That's the way it was.
Okay, and the transmission?
Straight 3-speed manual.
Okay, and the rear axle? Any kind of a high drama there, like a 2-speed?
Well, it's a 373 gear, so it makes cruising very easy on the motor. Top speed on this is 65 miles an hour, so it's quite a cruiser.
Do you drive it at all, or is it strictly trailered to the show?
I trailered it to this show. I didn't want to get it dirty. I was afraid there was going to be rain, but usually we drive it around.
Well, it's an excellent example of a classic automobile. And Chuck, if you can, I want to direct your camera shot to the wheels. This is when they had wooden spoke wheels.
That's correct, and it takes quite a bit of time to keep them up, and when you go through them, quite a bit of money to maintain those wheels.
There's no question about it. Maintaining these old cars is a real task. Yes, Allison?
Was the Peerless in its era considered one of the more luxury cars, or was this like an everyday, everybody got them?
Let's ask him, because you're exactly right. Something like a Pierce Arrow would have been a luxury car, and something like a Chevrolet would have been or a Ford would have been the other end of the line. Where did the Peerless fall in?
Well, it was built in Cleveland, Ohio. It ran between 1904 and 1931. The 31s was the last year they ever made it. They made it one of them. One of the reasons they went out of business is they didn't want to sacrifice the quality. They were building them by hand, the most expensive parts hand-tooled. It just wasn't a mass-produced car, and they were 3 to 4 times higher than the cars on the market. The Fords, the Chevys, everyone was buying those.
So this was a quality car.
Quality car.
It looks like the elite would have been driving this, you know?
Yes, well, especially when you look at the boat tail design. The Auburn, of course, was popularized the boat tail design, and this is a very rare boat tail. Anyhow, I want to thank you very much for spending some time with us. It's a great car. I wish we did more antiques and classic cars on the show. This is, again, this is the richness of our heritage. I see that the car does have front brakes, so this is, and as a matter of fact, it's got front external expanding brakes. Am I correct?
That's correct.
That's right. Very, very rare, folks. I wish we had more time to spend with it. Thanks for spending a little time with us. I want to make sure we keep these other girls in on the act. Girls, I know you didn't hear anything down here, but yes.
This is a better car for me and the kids. It's even got the extra seat in the back.
Got the rumble. It's called a rumble
seat.
If you guys would, please tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
What a fine classic automobile, a real treat. Speaking of treats, the Oakbrook Terrace folks always seem to have an Elvis show up during their annual tribute to the King, and this year it was John Elvis.
Don't kiss me once or twice and say it's very nice and very wrong.
It's hard to believe it's been more than a decade since the wonderful Oakbrook Terrace car shows have been held. They were a collaborative effort between then Alderman John Valley and then Mayor Richard Sorello. We've kind of lost touch with John Valley, and sadly, Mayor Sorello passed away last year. We'll bet he'd be happy to see his work lived on. Enjoy!
Don't kiss me once or twice. Say it's really nothing very wrong. Elsa, don't you do what your big sister done? Well, I used to pull your pictures, the picture turned up nose. But you've been growing and baby, it's showing from your head down to your toes.
You might be interested to know The Oakbrook Terrace car shows inspired the Joliet Father's Day weekend car show festivals. Today, the Joliet events are far and away the most elaborate and extensive of all the summer car shows. And it all started with the Oakbrook Terrace effort.
Every time I see your sister, well, she got somebody new. She mean as she looks like a little overheater. Guess I'm trying my love with you. Well, sister, don't you? Well, sister, don't you? Well, sister, don't you kiss me on your voice? Say it's very other than wrong. Well, so won't you do what your big sister done? Well, so won't you do what your big sister done? Well, so won't you do what your big sister done? Yeah.
John Elvis entertained all afternoon, but we have to move on because there were many more cars to look at. If you'll recall earlier in the program, we showed you a hot rod Ford Vicky. Well, guess what we found? A perfectly stock version. Compare.
Those of you that have been watching Motorsports Unlimited for a long time will get a kick out of this story. In the very early years, one of the biggest supporters of our work was a fellow named John Olsen, who is a great local race car driver in all kinds of race cars, from stock cars to formulas and all the rest of it. He also has a body shop, a local body shop, and his dad is interested in cars and interested in racing. And what we have here today is John Olsen's dad. And if I haven't done this quite right, please introduce yourself to our audience.
John Olsen.
From?
River Grove.
And what do we got here?
Paul Olsen.
Yes, and Paul, you worked at the body shop with your brother.
Right.
But no longer.
No longer, no. We're
okay.
Part of our ways.
Yeah, so he bailed out on him, but in any event, we've got father and son here, and as I understand, you guys were involved in the restoration of this Ford Vicky.
Yeah, off-the-frame restoration, yeah.
And you guys did it?
Yes, we did, yes.
Okay, please, John, tell us about it. What have we got here?
31 Model A Victoria.
Complete frame-off restoration, and I understand you drive the car.
Yeah.
It's not trailered or anything, you drive it.
We drove it here.
Drove it here?
Yeah, we drove it here, yeah.
Okay, what kind of problems did you run into during the restoration process?
Oh, problems? Hardly any, actually. It went real smoothly.
Okay, so, well, obviously you guys are professional body men, and folks, John, if you can, take a look at the car. The work is obvious that these guys are professionals. The interior looks brand new. You guys don't do that kind of work, I know that.
No, we didn't do the interior. We sent it to a shop in Addison for that.
Okay, I want to explain something. Earlier we did a 32 Ford Victoria street rod, which was a fiberglass reproduction and all that. And I want the audience to take a look again. John, if you can show the audience the car. These are not sedans and they're not coupes. We know that there are 3-window coupes that don't have a window back here at all. And there are 5-window coupes that have a little window back here. And there's the sedans, which have a big back end where the back end comes all the way out to here. And then we have the 32 Victoria, which was kind of halfway in between. Paul, can you explain that? Or did I do it well?
You did it pretty well. You know, you explained the bustle back concept on the back there, and
I guess I didn't think of that word, a bustle back, sort of a bustle back concept on there, and that's what gives the 32 and the 31, for that matter, Victorias that special, unique look.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
I know the audience per se can't see it, but this color of the body is absolutely beautiful. What color would that be? Like a burgundy, or?
We got the body man here.
It's a maroon color. It's original stock color that came on these cars.
Yes.
So again, I'm going to tell you people, get your fannies out here and come see these things face to face. They're gorgeous.
Yes, not only can you see a beautiful antique like this, literally a classic car in fully restored condition, you can see literally the same car in a full hot rod version, all at the same show. I think these local shows are wonderful. You're great, Paul?
Me too. I like going to them. We go to them quite a bit.
When are we going to get John Jr. in a race car again?
If someone gives him one to race.
Isn't that the truth? Anyhow, guys, thanks for spending a little time with us. We've got threatening weather here. I'm glad we finally got a chance to show this great restoration to our audience. I kind of watched this, what, took a couple years or a year and a half, something like that?
It took us 4 months.
Okay, I watched it for 4 months then. I thought it was longer than that. I'm sorry. Anyhow, thanks for spending some time with us, guys. I want to make sure we keep all the girls in on the act, so if we can come down here, and Peggy, we can get you to an interview yet today or no?
Maybe.
We'll see. Please, you got to folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
You'll be interested to know that John Olsen's fine 31 Vicky was judged first in stock and best of show in antiques to 1949. Now, we've been so excited about Elvis and all the fine cars, we almost forgot to take a moment to introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Mimi DiLiberto.
I'm Allison Demore.
I'm Crystal Kuchan.
And I'm Peggy O'Donnell.
Thank you, girls. Now let's return to the cars with the terrific 50s car that took Bill back to his teenage years.
If I am ever in a position to have a car collection, one of the cars that has to be part of that collection is a 57 J2 Olds. I haven't seen one of these since about 1959 or maybe 60, and I can't believe here at the Oakbrook Terrace Car Show we've got one. Yes.
You know, I found it amazing. This was one of the original J2s, and with that 3.2, that's really quite interesting.
Okay, Allison, 3.2 what? What does that mean, kid?
We have 3 two-barrel carburetors.
Well, very good. She's got it right, doesn't she?
She's excellent.
Okay, and you are?
Rick Mullen.
Where are you from, Rick?
Westchester.
Tell us about your car. What have we got?
It's a 1957 Olds 98 J2, 3.2 barrels, and one of the first ones, and a car that is a great luxury car, great riding car, and very fast.
You're exactly right, and this was at a time before the manufacturers kind of got the idea that what the youngsters were doing was taking these great engines out of these cars and putting them into lightweight Ford coupes and the like. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Right, and so at this time, the manufacturers weren't quite up on that, so we had great cars like the Chrysler 300, which is also a big car like this, and others that had performance cars, but they were in their heavy car lines. This was sort of the end of that era of doing it with the big, heavy cars, and it was a wonderful time. These cars have to be experienced to be appreciated, yes.
Bill, does anyone else at the present time use the 3 carburetors, the 3 two-barrels?
Today?
Yes.
I don't think anybody's using tri-power anymore.
Era.
It was part of that era, and I still think the most drivable of all performance carburetions. It operated on a center two-barrel carburetor, except when you floored it, and that opened up the N2 carburetors. This was done with vacuum linkage, I'm sure.
Right, vacuum.
You still have the original vacuum?
Yes, I do.
Well, listen, it's a great piece. It takes me back years. And do you drive the car or just trailer it to shows?
Well, I have 2 of them. I don't trailer it. No, I drive them a little bit on the weekends. Like
You've got 2 J2s?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, one guy's got all of them. Gee.
Let's hang with him.
Yeah, really. Anyhow.
But the beauty of the car, Bill, is that it drives so nicely. Really, it cruises beautifully.
You're exactly right. And, you know, we don't really fully appreciate these big, heavy cars done as performance vehicles. They were exceptional. The Chrysler 300
on gas mileage.
No, but the Chrysler 300 is very much the same way.
Yeah.
Anyhow, thanks for spending time with us. We're fighting the weather here today. I want to get as many as we can. And by the way, John, I want you to take a look at this T-shirt here. In fact, we're going to break our rule here on Motorsports Unlimited. You leave your chest puffed up because I want to close on that. We've got a 57 Olds Rocket T-shirt. Don't run away. Stay right there. John, that's your closing shot, buddy. Please tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
There were so many outstanding cars that one would be hard-pressed to pick the best, but the next car was a work of art and at the very least, among the best. Let's join Allison as she inquires.
Well, we do a lot of car shows, but I have to say this show today so far has had some of the most exquisite cars I've ever seen. And not only to mention that, nothing is more of a favorite than mine than cars with rumble seats. First of all, can you tell me your name and where you're from?
Paul Magisi, Aurora, Illinois.
Okay, tell me all about this beautiful car.
1934 Ford Cabriolet, original steel body with a 1993 Corvette LT1 motor.
Okay, what kind of rear end do you got in it?
9-inch Ford.
Okay, is this something that you've done all by yourself, or is it something you've had help?
I'd say 90% of it was done by myself.
Wow, it's a paint job also, or was that done outside?
That was a paint too.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Now tell me, when you got this car originally, was it something that you started restoring from a real bad condition, or was it something that was pretty easy to do, just kind of improving all the time?
It was an original car. Well, it needed a lot of work.
And how you doing in the contest this year? In all the different shows?
Good.
Wonderful. Belle?
Allison, step right on over here. This is an exquisite piece of work, and I understand you've done most of the work yourself.
Right.
Okay, it's an exquisite piece of work, folks, and it's an all-steel car, so it involved both restoration and modification because it's got an LT1 Chevy engine in it, including the tuned port fuel injection.
Correct.
Okay, do you drive the car at all, or is it trailered all the time?
Yeah, it's got 3,500 miles since April.
Okay, how about the drivability? Very often when we build these hot rods, we end up with drivability problems. What have you experienced?
It's excellent.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you something. Yes.
When he said restoration earlier, does that mean he's not restoring it to its original condition? He's just restoring it into because of the Corvette engine.
Right. I'm complicating the process because we've explained in the last couple of shows to our girls the difference between people that present restored cars and the people that present hot rods. This is clearly a hot rod, but because of the way this car was done, it is a hot rod, but it's done to a fully restored. Help us.
They call it a resto rod.
Oh, we even have a name for it now.
Right, correct.
Okay, resto.
I like that
so you
name.
have to do both restoration and do the modern drive line. It's a very complicated process. Yes.
Okay, then I have a real quick question. Back in its heyday, what was it? Was it just a regular street car, a passenger car?
Oh, absolutely. This was it started
Convertible. It was just a 1934 convertible.
34 Ford convertible. It was a wonderful car, and now what you have essentially is a 1994 34 Ford convertible. Do I have it about right?
Right, with a 94 amenities in it.
With all the new amenities in that, I have power steering, brakes.
Power steering, brakes, air, CD player.
Again, the best of the old and the best of the new.
Exactly. Listen, thanks for spending a little time with us. It's a wonderful piece. I congratulate you. We'd love to find people that do this kind of work. What do you do for a living?
Retired firefighter.
Really, I would have thought maybe a tool and die maker or something. The work is beautiful. Thanks for spending some time with us. I want to make sure we keep these girls in on the act, and I can feel the raindrops coming, and I hope this isn't going to happen. Girls, please tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
Everywhere we looked, there were fine examples of the work of gifted automotive artisans, including this superb street rod with a big surprise under its hood.
This is one great street rod. Crystal, tell the audience what's so very special about this one.
It's lime sherbet green.
Something even more than that.
I have no idea.
It's a big block 454 Chevy in it. How many street rods do we find with big blocks? Almost none.
None.
Okay. Allison, I was going to ask you, but you would have known, right?
I knew because you told me.
Okay. Let me come down here. It is not very often that we run into a street rod that has a big block 454 Chevy in it. First of all, you are?
Jim Tadlock.
Where are you from, Jim?
Oakbrook Terrace.
Tell us about your car. What have we got?
It's a 1934 Chevy Outlaw Performance kit car.
So in other words, there's not a single part on here from a 1934 Chevy.
No.
Okay. Tell us about the chassis, the engine, the driveline.
Well, it's all the chassis and the engine. Well, the engine was out of a 87 Corvette or Chevelle. I don't remember which one it was. But the car came with a body and a chassis from Outlaw Performance, and then we just started putting it together.
Did you do the work?
Not all of it.
I was going to say, you must do this for a living.
No. Phil in Indiana started the car.
Okay. Anyhow, it's a beautiful done. Do you drive it much, or is it strictly trailered?
I drive it all the time.
Do you really?
Yes.
Boy, what a great piece. Is it real drivable? I mean, I noticed you've got air conditioning and all.
Yes, I drive it all the time, everywhere.
Okay, who did the interior?
Rainbow glass and trim and Roselle.
Okay, again, a beautiful piece of work. And folks, again, I wish we had more than a 1 hour show. Everywhere we look here today, there are cars that are worthy of attention. This is obviously a standout, but there's lots of standouts we're not even going to get to today. So you have to attend these shows in person in order to really appreciate. We can just bring you a taste. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you've really got to come to these shows. You're cheating yourself. They're free. If you don't come, I don't know. We're trying to give you money, in effect, right? Thanks for spending a little time with us. Great car. I want to keep everybody in on the act. And I guess Allison, since I didn't talk to her before, I'll have her do the honors. Allison, please tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
These summer car shows have something for everyone. Don't believe it? Watch.
When I say that we've got everything at this car show today, I'm not kidding. We've shown you street rods, we've shown you classics, we've shown you antiques, and now we are going to show you a Maserati bi-turbo. There can't be more than a couple of hundred of these in the entire world. Very expensive, very exotic, and very fast. First of all, you are?
I'm Ben Kubicki.
Where are you from?
Payless Park.
Tell us about your car.
Very few made. The car has 10,000 original miles on it. I bought it from the original owner about 3 weeks ago.
Engine, drivetrain?
It's a 6-cylinder twin turbo.
Right, that means 2 turbochargers with a V6 engine. I presume all aluminum, double overhead cam?
Right. It's fast.
And how about the transmission?
It's automatic.
Okay, that's unusual.
Very. I couldn't fit in the car if it was stick shift because of the way the seating is set up, so I had to get an automatic.
Okay, well, it's a great car, and again, these summer car shows, literally any kind of car can be seen. And John, if you would, right next to him, next to a Maserati bi-turbo, if you pan over there to the left, you'll see that we've got a pickup truck next to you. I mean, I love the variety, and I think that's the attraction of these shows. Now, don't run away, please, because John, now, when we talk about variety, come right over here, because what we've got here now is a Clenay, which is just as scarce and just as rare, perhaps more so, than the Excalibur that we looked at earlier. And first of all, you are
Ken Barnes.
Where are you from, Ken?
Tinley Park.
Tell us about your Clenay.
This is a 1979 Clenay. It was manufactured in Santa Barbara, California. It was an upscale automobile for the celebrity set, Rodeo Drive and Hollywood Boulevard.
There's no question about this. Lots of movie stars, not lots of them because there weren't that many made, but several movie stars own these cars.
Yes, I understand Sylvester Stallone owned one. Julio Iglesias owned one. So I'm proud to be among the few that have owned them.
What kind of engine and drivetrain does it have?
This is built on a Lincoln chassis. It has a 351 engine with a C4 automatic transmission, and it has all full power.
Just 1 second. Allison?
Would this be a car that is that rare that I never would have heard of them? Because I've never heard of it.
Some of these specialty cars manufacturers you would have never heard because they're sort of production cars, but not really. They're sort of handmade classics. Even though how many of these were made?
Now, the scheduled production run was 250. This is car number 9. This was the 9th automobile produced.
Yes, and I would doubt if there were more than 100 of them ever made.
I know of up to 160 some, but after that, I don't know the full production figures.
So you can see they're extremely limited production.
I've never heard of it. I thought when we first walked up it was an Excalibur until I read it and I went, ooh, Clenay.
No, exactly. There are, I would say, perhaps a half a dozen Excalibur-like cars. Clenay was perhaps one of the most successful, agree?
Yes, and probably the most expensive. Some of them running as much as $110,000.
Wow. Yes, although...
What time were these produced?
This was fairly recent, within the past few years.
The production, from what I understand, was from 79 to 86.
Yeah, so it's fairly recent. Beautiful car.
Sure are.
Now, Peggy, I haven't been able to get you to do an interview yet, so I am going to do a special close with you. So if you'd come out here with me right in the middle of these 2 great cars, right here like this, and tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
Of course, Maseratis and Clenays are wonderful cars, but maybe a little out of the average person's price range. Let's come back to earth with one of America's favorite mid-60s hot rods.
I'm not sure, is there anybody in the world that doesn't love a GTO?
I don't think so. I think just about everybody does.
Mimi, you too?
Oh, absolutely, Bill. They're beautiful cars.
You're a car person. You've got a Camaro. That means a GTO is still okay, though?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, everybody likes a GTO. This was really America's favorite hot rod when they came out with them in 1964. Pontiac got it all just right, and this happens to be a fine example. It's not a 64, it's a little later year, but it has the tri-power, and I don't know if it was a 4-speed or not. I didn't look. We'll find out in a second, but first of all, you are.
My name is Ken Friedrich.
And where are you from, Ken?
Chicago, Illinois.
Tell us about your car.
Well, it's a 67 GTO. The block is out of a 72 Firebird 400. The tri-power and the intake manifolds are out of a 66 GTO. Pontiac did away with the tri-power in 67. They went to a quadrajet.
What a shame.
It's got a 421 roller cam, roller rockers, TRW pistons, 411 posi. Chassis all been redone. The unique thing about the car is it has no body work on it whatsoever. It has no Bondo, no body filler. The right front fender was replaced with a brand new fender from New York. Otherwise, there's no body work. It's all solid.
What kind of a transmission?
It's got a 4-speed transmission. Right now, I just had a new clutch and pressure plate put in because we blew it 2 weeks ago.
It sounds like maybe you race the car.
Well, we play around once in a while when we get along with friends and
you don't go to the strip with it?
No, I've never had it on a strip at a time. And right now, I had it dynoed out last summer. It's running probably about 450 horses.
Well, listen, it's a great car, and like I said when I opened this thing, nobody doesn't love a GTO.
Bill, I notice a lot of the older cars are done in a lot of reds and blacks. Were those a predominant color of that era, or is it just something that people are doing now or when they're updating them?
You know, that's something I'd have to think about a little bit. Red, of course, has always been a very popular car among people that are into race cars and things like that.
Will you get back to me on that, okay?
Yeah, that's a good observation. I hadn't really thought about that. Anyhow, yes.
One of the major cars of the colors of those years were blue, too. Most goats were blue.
Well, that's true. You know, I know the statistics show for different periods. I know for like an 8-year period, white was the most popular color, and then there was a period where light blue was the most popular color. I'm not really sure about the taste, though, of hot rodders and people that are into cars. You're right, red is showy, and a lot of us like that. Anyhow, thanks for spending time with us. It's a great car. Please don't run away. I want to keep the other girls in on the act down here. And, girls, again, you know what I need? Please tell the folks.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
We don't want to leave the Mustang fans out, and when Bill spotted this blown late model driven by a girl, he said, "Let's take a closer look."
There's nothing we like more than female participation in motorsports, so when I spot an attractive young woman with a blown Mustang, we've got to get our camera over there and do a piece. So first of all, you are?
Kelly Stiles.
And where are you from, Kelly?
Bolingbrook.
Did you do any of the work on this?
Well, I helped clean it and I helped take it apart a couple of times. My brother-in-law Joe started doing it, Joe Stiles. He lives in Plainfield.
So you're not really a motorsport person as far as building?
I help.
Okay, tell us about it. What have we got here?
It's a blown 302, that's what we call it. It's got a Dyer 671 supercharged blower on it. Dual Holley 600 carbs, punched up to 660s. Mr. Gasket street scoop.
Okay, I'm watching her closely, folks, to see if she really knows this stuff or she's just repeating it. Do you know what a supercharger is?
It's a blower.
Yeah, do you know what that is?
I know what it does.
What does it do?
Gives it a lot more horsepower.
But how does it do it?
Well, the air goes in through here, blows it down, makes the crank go faster down in the bottom. The whole thing goes faster.
Mimi, go ahead and explain the supercharger to her.
The supercharger?
Okay, that was pretty good.
Sure.
That was pretty good. No, in fact, I really want the audience to know about it. All a supercharger is, any kind of a supercharger, whether it's a turbocharger or in this case the GMC Root style supercharger, all that is a big compressor. I bet nobody ever explained that to you. That's just a big compressor. All it does is pump air into the engine so that the engine doesn't have to inhale it by itself. We force it. In fact, I've explained this more than a few times on the show where we tell people the way to think about it is and don't do this. If you went to a gas station, took the air hose, put it in your mouth and pulled the trigger. That's what a supercharger does. It force feeds the engine air. Now, do you drive the car at all?
I am the driver.
You're the driver?
Yes.
Well, this has got to be a trip.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really is a lot of fun. Now, I've got to ask you, because normally us guys, when we do stuff like this is a whole macho thing to us with the big supercharger sticking through the hood and the whine of the blower and all that, and we want to intimidate other guys and everything. In general...
Intimidate a lot of guys.
But do you like to do that?
Yes.
You enjoy that process too?
Yes.
Okay. What do you plan something for the future for the car? Is this about the way you want it?
Well, we'd like to tub it eventually.
Okay, and tell the audience what tubbing means.
Basically, you tear out the whole rear end and make room for big wheels.
Right, and the tub refers to the sheet metal you have to do inside to make room for the big slicks and all that.
Right, right.
Okay, can I put you to work on a different kind of job here for 1 second?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to step out in front of your car, give the audience one more look at this great car, just like this. I want you to take a look at our camera, and I want you to say...
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
We all know that all good things must come to an end, and this show marked the end of this Oakbrook Terrace car show season. So we wanted to spend a few minutes with the folks that make it all happen.
Well, this actually concludes the Oakbrook Terrace car show season. I want to remind our audience that last year there were no Oakbrook Terrace car shows, and the year before that there were like 6, and the year before that there were like 6. And this year the Oakbrook Terrace car shows were back bigger and better than ever, and we had 3 of them this year. Unless we count the Moparmania show, which was also in Oakbrook Terrace, but these guys didn't put it on, then we could say it was 4. John Valley, first of all, I want to say congratulations. The shows are absolutely wonderful, and somebody must be doing something right. What has been your impression?
I think the committee knows what they're doing now. They know what they want. The car owners are really happy that we're having these shows, and I really appreciate them coming out. And I think most of all, you coming out here makes the day.
Well, you don't mean me. I know John Valley. He means the girls. That's what he's talking about.
Beautiful girls that you got here.
Okay, I want to make sure we get everybody, because without these guys, this couldn't happen.
That's right. The volunteers make the team, and it's a team effort here, just not my effort.
I live with the same thing every week. You're exactly right. So I'm going to start at this end, and please reintroduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Al Kartsunis. I'm from Bellwood.
And?
Paulette Kartsunis, and I'm from Bellwood.
You're his daughter?
Yes.
Okay, and next?
Steve Metz, I'm from Oakbrook Terrace.
And this is the uncle? Okay, and we know who this is. Go ahead.
Wendy Metz, Oakbrook Terrace.
I hope you caught yourself last time with the when we had the music and everything out here. We had a little shot of you and they're doing the hula hoops and that.
Oh, really? No, I missed it.
Pardon me?
They don't have cable.
You don't have cable?
Not that again.
You're out of the information loop, Wendy. How you got it's unbelievable. So, pardon? Yes?
She's going to get cable. I'll have it delivered to her house.
We're going to have to make sure that happens. You're out of the information loop, and you are?
Steve Castlin, Alderman of Oakbrook Terrace.
Oh, we've got 2 aldermen there.
Yes.
Okay, I've got to find. Wait a minute. I got to find out where's the real power here.
So it's equally divided.
Equally divided, yes.
I want to say from us at Motorsports, we enjoy coming here so much because they make it so pleasant for us. They're all wonderful.
Yeah, I really do want to just hit on that point just a little bit here. One of the things that makes these Oakbrook Terrace car shows so nice is the community involved. We have 2 aldermen here from Oakbrook Terrace that are putting this on. This is real community support, real community involvement. These are wonderful, wonderful shows. They always manage to come up with a theme. Today's theme, obviously, was Elvis. This is the Elvis theme. I didn't really spot them out here. We had a couple of guys that said they were Elvis, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they got scared at the last minute there because we had too good of an Elvis up here, and I wish we would have came up though, Bill. Really.
But it is fun with the Elvis shows, isn't it?
We're just goofing around and we're having a good time. That's what it's all about.
It really is. Yes, Crystal.
And again, free to the public.
Yeah, if I haven't underlined that enough, folks, you're cheating yourself if you don't take advantage of these car shows. These are free to the public, and I got news for you. Your work is starting to spread because I know that Lyle is doing a similar show now. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Lyle.
Remember, this interview was originally taped in 1993.
But they're going to have a good time like we're doing.
Well, let's not say copying. Let's just say we're influenced by it.
Sharing the fun.
Sharing the wealth.
Sharing the fun, and I know Jerry Lockhart is heavily involved with putting that together too. So anyhow, I want to thank all you guys. Do you have any plans yet? I keep asking the one alderman. We got another one here. Any plans for next year?
We're looking forward to next year, and maybe we can increase the number, but we'll try for 3 at least anyway next year.
Okay, so you guys were pleased, and you think you're going to be doing it again next year?
I think it worked as a tourism event, drawing people to town, and that's the main purpose. Everybody coming out and enjoying and finding out where Oakbrook Terrace is at. Since we're such a small community, we want everybody in the world to know where we're at, and I think we're accomplishing that. If I believe right, there's 4.5 million people that watch your show now.
That's correct. And as a matter of fact, talking about where you're at, we are right now on the corner of Summit and Roosevelt Road. In this little community of Oakbrook Terrace, as I've explained on the show before, is one of the most remarkable communities that I have ever encountered. This little area of a couple of thousand people, 2,300 people, something like that, and you do these wonderful car shows. In addition to that, you've got a park district here that puts on these name brand concerts. Wendy, you're talking?
Great concerts.
Great, and it's all free. I don't know.
It's all free, and what you're talking about is music on the lake at the 82nd and 83, 82nd, 83 and 22nd Terrace View Park.
And it's free. These are big name entertainers giving free concerts, and everybody is welcome from every community. It's not just for the folks in Oakbrook Terrace. Am I correct?
You're correct, 100% correct. And I just can't understand why more people aren't coming yet. But
I'm coming next time.
Yeah, and maybe we haven't done our job and tell the folks about it. Folks, so if you're looking for something to do, what you should do is call Oakbrook Terrace and find out what they've got going on. And I see we're getting the wrap-up sign, so we've got to finish this thing up quickly. And please, Wendy, you know what I want you to do. Step out here, and please step right on out here, the two of you guys together. If you just tip your heads together a little bit, and I want you to say...
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
As she always did, Allison had one more thing to say.
Okay, tell me what your name is.
Jacqueline Hidalgo.
And where are you from?
I'm from Oakbrook Terrace.
And I want to show you guys, she is the winner of the Oakbrook Terrace Art Show. We just wanted to show you this.
Summer of car shows thanks to the folks in Oakbrook Terrace, and we'll look forward to the next season. But today we're out of time, with only enough left to acknowledge the fine work of our award-winning production team, including Chuck Itzenthaler, John Kuchan, Keith Hansen, Chris Schutz, and Mike Sabatino. Special thanks to JBTV's Jerry Bryant. Music is created for us by Fireside Recording Studio in Westchester, Illinois, and by independent artists Roger Pauly and Jerry Herbert. Of course, we have to take a moment to thank the stars of this edition of Motorsports Unlimited: Allison D'Amore, Mimi DiLiberto, Peggy O'Donnell, Crystal Kuchan, and our host, Bill Wildt. Me, I'm Ron Grant, here to scold you if you didn't attend any of these fine Oakbrook Terrace summer car shows. Now you've got to wait until next year. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
This program made possible in part by support from the Chicagoland Toys for Tots Motorcycle Parade held on Western Avenue in Chicago, the first Sunday in December.
This program made possible in part by support from ABC Auto Parts, located on Ashland Avenue at 138th Street in Blue Island, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Bridgestone Firestone and your local Bridgestone Firestone tire retailers.
Motorsports Unlimited is produced by Bill Wildt, president of the Motorsport Advancement Crusade.
This program made possible in part by support from Copy That, located in the County Farm Plaza at County Farm Road and Army Trail Road in Carroll Stream, Illinois. This program made possible in part by support from PB Food Products, located on 47th Street at Western Avenue in Chicago, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from J.C. Whitney & Company, located just off I-80 at the Utica exit in LaSalle, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Jimmy's Red Hots, located on Grant Avenue and Pulaski Road in Chicago.
Motorsports Unlimited was created to raise public consciousness, understanding, and appreciation of the motorsport community and their activities. You can contact us by email at msutv.com, or you can write to Motorsport, P.O. Box 66242, Chicago, Illinois, 60666. We enjoy hearing from our audience. Please let us know what you think.
Next week on Motorsports Unlimited, it's the 26th annual Chevy Vet Fest Car Show, almost live from McCormick Place on Chicago's beautiful lakefront. As always, great cars, including a brand new Canadian beauty, interesting vendors, and the unique swap meet, all next week on Motorsports Unlimited.
So that's it, another edition of Motorsports Unlimited and the lovely ladies of motorsports. And be with us next week because we'll have something real exciting. Bill Wildt's going to have the lovely ladies, and just about anything can happen right here on Motorsports Unlimited. Every week at this time, we bring you the best in motorsports. So be seeing ya. Bye-bye. And keep on rocking.